let's go right on to our problem of the day. Problem of the day says, a catering service has calculated a meal cost for 240 people would be, $5,000. That's pretty good. That's a lot of good money. Good industry. If 300 people actually eat, what would be the total cost of the meal? All right, so let's think about this just a second. It says a catering service has calculated a meal cost for 240 people to be at $5,000. So if we have actually 300 people eating, which would mean more, what would be the total cost of the meal? Let's play this one out, see where it's going to go. Problem of the day style, here we have it. So I'm thinking, and I'm going to add even one more thing here. Let's look at this thing. We've got numbers that are important. The 240, there you go, matches out with 5,000, so they go together. That's in my mind, they're going together. In your mind, they're going together, I hope. But then we decide we actually have a few more. We have, looks like 60 more. And now what's going to be the total cost if you keep the meal at the same rate? That's the idea. Now you might want to cut them a deal or something because there's 300 of them, but personally, if you're charging per plate per person, this is what we're talking about here, all right? So, dealing. I want to talk about the money because I like money, all right? We all like money, right? So let's put the $5,000 for 240. We're going to play proportions on this. This is really, because we're talking about rates and ratios and proportions and things like that. That's what this is really leading itself to be. Over here, that's $5,000, by the way. That's per person. Well, it's not per person, $5,000 for all those people. We can probably figure out the rate per person here in just a second. But on the other side, we're going to play the same story. But this time, we want to know how much money. We do not know. We'll call it X, missing piece right there. But we do know that we have increased our amount to 300, from 240 to 300. So in thinking about that, what we want to do, what we want to go on this, is get that amount of money right there. And to do that, cross multiplication is going to work really nicely here. Now, some of you say, well, could we reduce anything? Sure, we could knock those zeros off there, those two zeros on the end. Not all of them, just have 500 over 24, and you could probably fix that a little bit more per se. But let's just keep them as they are because, again, with calculator technology, we can hang with this. We can get it to work right. So cross multiply. First off, let's take these two. These two guys, by the way, we call them means. They're multiplied together. These two guys out here, 5,000 and 300, because they're the first and last position of the proportion, we call the extremes, and they're going to go together. That is the interesting thing. Now, some of you say, well, Ernie, I thought we could cancel. No, we can't. This has got an equals. If we had a multiplication here, oh my goodness, we would love to cancel, all right? But we do not have a multiplication in the middle. We've got equals, so don't mess with trying to, as we call it, some of you call it cross-canceling, but to cancel out those zeros, we're going to multiply them, all right? We're going to keep them all. And in doing the 240, we're going to have 240 times X on one side, and on the other side, we're going to make sure we have enough zeros. But first of all, let's make sure we're going to say 5,000 times 300. By the way, sometimes I have occasionally people who ask me, what does that mean when you put a number next to X? It means it's multiplied, all right? So it's basically 240 times X, or we would have 240 of those X's, so to speak. Now, let's go ahead and multiply. I'm going to go calculator with this one, all right? Let's see what we've got here. We got a lot of zeros. And we have some of our callers who call in some of these kind of problems occasionally. And I'm just going to let the calculator do the work today, and I'll come back and tell you what we actually did here in just a second. Let's multiply by 300. And we still have a lot of zeros, but now we have a 15. This is really one of those things you can do mentally in your head, and I just wasted some time on your calculator moment, I'm sure. But let's go ahead and drop that low. There we go. Thank you, guys. And put the 15 and 1, 2, 3, 5 zeros. Now, that's going to change here in just a moment, but that's kind of important. We want to see that we have that number right there. And over here, we've still got the 240x. Storyline is we want to divide that 240 in there and see what it's going to come out to in terms of the amount of money we're looking for. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Take it and divide it by, goodness, 240. Y'all venture a guess? It's going to come out even. It really is. It's going to come out even. Some of you are saying, really? Really? It will. Let's take it and see. We already got that 1,500. Let's just use it. See if it'll divide, see if it'll like me. It'll probably syntax my error here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's going to be upset. So let me clear that out. All right, let's go back to 15 with a lot of zeros, 5 zeros, right? And now we'll divide it by the 240. I love technology. I love it. But sometimes there's little tricks and twists, and you can't always get back to the little twist, whatever. Anyway, there is your cost right there, my folks, ladies and gentlemen. My goodness, it is $6,250. That is our amount. So that is pretty good. Now, it didn't ask, but I'm going to go with it. I mentioned the word at the same rate. I want to know what the rate was we've kicked up with. So let's pick up 5,000. Let me just clear these out. Let's pick up 5,000. And that's the proof of what we're really trying to do, is make sure that we have the same rate per person. So we're going to take and divide that by 240. And that takes us to that amount, okay? It looks like almost $21. $21, that's actually 5/6 if you were to make that become a fraction. And let's see if we get the same cost per meal when we do, what was it, 6,250, I believe. And we divide that by, what was it, 300? They keep me honest upstairs. There we have it. So the rate is the same, and that's the whole idea. We wanted to keep the same rate and see what we would be able to do. And that's how we work proportionals, okay? That is one of those great areas. So there you go. Some of you say, I never use algebra. Well, if you're a caterer, you're going to use it a lot. And certainly you will in doing recipes, because you got to enlarge them, shrink them, all sorts of things like that. So you're going to use your algebra. You're going to use that concept of proportionalities and arithmetic, math, all sorts of things. And hey, you want to price people, you want to make the right amount of money and be fair. That's where that comes from too. So there you have it. Problem of the day, kind of solved out pretty quick. We also know that rate is going to be about almost $21, a little bit under.